So our lesson for today consists of creating scales for music class. Now I've already launched a program called Finale, which is available on all of your computers in the school anyway, but I have, we're just going to go over some basic rules about writing these scales. So if I open my Finale program, I get this launcher, which we're just going to follow the prompts that it gives us. Create your blank staff. You're going to add that. Actually, no, second thought, if we do voices and we do soprano voice, we'll only get one staff, so that'll be the best. So let's try that. We'll just title that Scales. And also put your name in the composer spot. So I would put that. Secondly, we need to select, you can just leave this all as is. It should be an okay where it is. We will change it when we get in there. If you want to change the measure of numbers to probably about 25, that should work. So to start our scales, we need to enter our note values. So if we come over here, this is our main tool palette over here. And we're going to select this little note here called the Simple Entry tool. We are then going to start our scale, which we know from the other day. Our first scale, which has nothing in the key signature, is the key of C major. So therefore, we're going to start with a C right here. Whoops. We're going to go up, and we're going to go up our 8 notes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're also going to do that coming back down, repeating the top note. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now we need to take our scale, as we discussed the other day, and we need to take our scale and transpose it up one whole tone. So the way we do this is we start on D, and again we go up our 8 notes. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll do the same coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, any music, what we discussed the other day, or any music person will be able to tell you that scale's slightly incorrect. There are 2 note alterations, if you remember from the other day, that we need to do in order to keep our scales the way it should be. So in order to do that, for this instance, we're going to use our sharp. So we're going to come down here to our Simple Entry palette and go to our sharp that looks like this. We will take that and we will we're just going to take our note, we're going to click it. Oh, we're going to make sure the sharp is actually on and highlighted blue first. Then we're going to take it and click our note like that. So we now have a sharp beside it. Now, if you remember from the other day, we also need another sharp on our C. So we're going to go over to our C, and we're going to go up to the C, and we're going to double click on the C to add a sharp beside it. We then need to do the same thing on the way down because, of course, as we learned before, this bar line cancels these sharps. So we will need to do the same thing. So we're going to, on the C, we're going to click again, add the sharp, and we're going to click a sharp for the F. So if we listen to this being played, we should have 2 scales that sound relatively the same. So if we come down here, if you need to hear them, which sometimes that helps, you can come down here to your playback control box, which is this, and you can click play. And as you can see, we have 2 major scales that sound almost identical, just one's up a whole tone. Now, as we discussed the other day, there's another way to write this scale. And as we're getting kind of used to that, we have this idea of key signatures. Key signatures basically allow us to move our tonic, which to this point we've been dealing with C as our tonic. So of course we have no sharps or flats. But instead of, if we want to create a song that has basically in the home key of D major, we will need to create a key signature, because we don't want to go through and have to mark our sharps beside every single sharp. Our F's and C's, make them sharp every single time we have them. It gets a little bit redundant. So that means we're going to have to do our key signature. So in order to add a key signature in Finale, we need to go to our main tool palette. I'm going to bring it over here again. Click on our arrow. Highlight our bar. Click on our key signature tool, which is a new tool to us. We have never used it before, but it has these two flats, and it's right here beside on the second row on the far right column. We're going to click on it. Then in order to change our key signature, we get this little cross symbol with our mouse. In order to change our key signature, we go to the bar we highlighted before and we double click. We then get the key signature dialog box, which appears like this. You can see here we're on the key of C major, so we're going to need to change that. And we can use these arrows here or the scroll bar, doesn't matter. And of course D is one up from C, so we're going to go at the two sharps, which is D major. And as you can see, if you just scroll through those, it just adds one extra sharp each time. And on the home key of C, if we need to add flats, we just go down and add one flat each time. We go back up to D here, and that's all fine. You shouldn't need to do anything there unless you're actually transposing. And then we just click OK. And as you can see, we now have a key signature at the beginning of our bar. So now we can take the same D major scale we wrote up here, and we can write it down here. Oh, I better get rid of that sharp, or else we'll have a disaster. So if we do this again, do our 8 notes, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat that coming down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this D major scale should sound almost identical to the one we've, actually it should sound identical to the one we wrote up here, because now we have our key signature, so we don't need to add our sharps to the F sharp and the C sharp. Even if you try to add a sharp to those notes, the lovely technology we use in these classrooms will not allow us to. As you can see, I can click that with the sharp. If I click the F, it won't actually add a sharp, and if I, same with the C, it won't actually add a sharp because the sharp is already there in our key signature. Now what I'm going to do is take, again, if we turn up our one more notch on our key signature, we're going to have the key signature of E major. So as we learned the other day, that key signature would have 4 sharps. So again, in order to change that, I'm going to go back to my main tool palette, which is right here. I'm going to click my key signature tool. I'm going to click on the bar, and we're going to go use our little arrow keys here. We're going to go up to E major. We're going to click OK, and it's going to change the key signature for us. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go back down and select our 8th note again, and we're going to go all the way up again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to come back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now so on, we'd have to do that for our next key, which is G major, which has 1 sharp. So we'd need to go back in and change that again. And we would just keep changing our key signature until we've covered all the key signatures on the handout we were given the other day. So this will just get us used to using key signatures. So hopefully tomorrow when you come into class, you can actually just get a head start, jump right in and start using the technology as we know how to change key signatures in Finale.